the insistent hiss of running water, far too intimate for an empty house, stopped me cold. My daughter was with her mother, and the silence of my home was usually a familiar comfort. Now, it was pierced by an uninvited rhythm, underscored by a low, almost melodic hum. My heart, a sudden frantic drum against my ribs, propelled me towards the hall closet. The worn grip of the baseball bat felt strangely heavy in my hand as I edged towards the bathroom door, steam already caressing the hallway air, a silent prelude to the mystery within. "Who's in there?" I called out, my voice rougher than intended, betraying the tight knot of fear in my gut. The humming ceased abruptly, leaving a sudden, echoing quiet. "Hello? Oh my God, is someone there?" A woman's voice, startled and laced with an unexpected vulnerability, called back. "This is my house," I stated, trying to infuse the words with authority I barely felt. "You have exactly 10 seconds to explain yourself before I call the police." A pause stretched, thick with unspoken tension, then a colorful cascade of curses, murmured low but vibrantly clear, that drew a surprised flicker of amusement, even through my alarm. "This is 1422 Maple Street, right?" she asked, a raw edge of panic in her tone. "No," I replied, the confusion beginning to displace my initial fear. "This is 1422 Maple Avenue." A profound groan resonated from behind the door. "Oh, no, I am so sorry. My friend Jen gave me her key. She said I could use her place to shower and change before my job interview. I just moved to town, and my motel has no hot water." Her story, delivered with an almost desperate earnestness, was either the truth or a performance of masterful deception. I lowered the bat an inch, the instinct to protect overriding the urge to strike. "Stay put," I commanded, though my voice had softened slightly. "I'm calling the police. Please, don't," she pleaded, a desperate tremor in her voice. "I can prove it. Jen Harmon, right? She works at Memorial Hospital." My brow furrowed. "There's no Jen Harmon here. I've lived here for 5 years." Another soft groan, a sound of utter defeat. "She must have given me the wrong address. I'm so sorry. Can you at least hand me my clothes? They're in the blue duffel by the door." I spotted the bag, a splash of vibrant blue against the tile. Cautiously, I nudged it closer to the door with my foot. "I'm leaving it here. Get dressed and come out slowly." The door cracked open, just enough for a slender arm, glistening with dampness, to snake out and retrieve the bag. The fleeting glimpse of smooth skin, the unspoken vulnerability of the moment, sent a strange jolt through me. A few minutes later, the door opened fully. I found myself face to face with Eliza. Her dark hair was a cascade of wet tendrils clinging to her neck and temples. Her face flushed crimson with mortification. She clutched the blue duffel bag to her chest like a fragile shield, the simple fabric straining against the soft curve of her breasts, a testament to her hasty dressing. Her eyes, wide and luminous, met mine, holding a desperate plea for understanding. "I'm Eliza," she said, her voice a little breathy, extending a hand before awkwardly retracting it. "And I'm absolutely mortified. I swear, I'm not a criminal, just an idiot with terrible direction sense and, apparently, a friend who can't tell avenue from street." Despite the surreal absurdity of the situation, a reluctant smile tugged at my lips. There was something disarmingly raw, unvarnished, about her honesty. "I'm Noah," I replied, finally allowing the bat to clatter softly to the floor. "And this is definitely the strangest thing that's happened to me in a while." "I should go," she murmured, moving instinctively towards the door, the humiliation palpable around her. "I'm so sorry for scaring you." "Wait," I said, surprising myself. A sudden, unexpected warmth had begun to unfurl in my chest. "Your interview. When is it?" She glanced at her watch, her face falling further. "In 40 minutes, across town." "You'll never make it," I observed. The thought of her rushing, flustered and damp, for a crucial interview, feeling suddenly unbearable. "Look, this is crazy. But why don't you finish getting ready here? You can use the mirror in the hallway. I'll wait in the living room." The look of pure, unadulterated relief that washed over her face was worth the audacious risk. Her gaze held mine for a beat longer than necessary, a silent acknowledgement of the unexpected kindness, the trust I was extending. "Thank you," she breathed, her voice thick with emotion. "I promise I'm not an axe murderer." "That's exactly what an axe murderer would say," I countered with a soft smile, turning away to give her the privacy she needed, though I was keenly aware of her presence in my home. 20 minutes later, Eliza emerged from the hallway, a quiet transformation. Her wet hair, which had been a wild, alluring mess, was now styled with professional precision, framing a face that held a newfound confidence. The crisp navy suit, impeccably tailored, replaced the duffel bag, subtly highlighting the graceful lines of her form. She looked poised, assured, and strikingly beautiful. The fresh scent of soap and a delicate perfume now mingled in the air, a subtle testament to the intimate space she had just occupied. "How do I look?" she asked nervously, her earlier vulnerability peeking through the polished exterior. "Like someone who's going to ace their interview," I replied honestly, my gaze lingering on her, a quiet appreciation for the woman before me. She smiled, a genuine, luminous curve of her lips, and in that moment, something palpable shifted in the air between us, an unspoken current, a gentle hum of recognition passed between our eyes. "I don't suppose," she began hesitantly, her gaze dropping to her hands, "I could buy you coffee sometime." To apologize properly for using your shower without permission, my mind immediately conjured reasons to decline. Emma, my 7-year-old daughter, a demanding job as an architectural engineer, the raw edges of my divorce 3 years ago. Dating wasn't even a distant thought. Yet, there was something about Eliza, her unwavering honesty, her quiet resilience in the face of profound embarrassment, the way her eyes crinkled at the corners when she truly smiled, the memory of her damp hair, her flushed skin, the soft curve of her arm reaching for the bag, lingered. "I'd like that," I heard myself say, the words a gentle surprise even to me. She scribbled her number on a receipt from her purse, her fingers brushing mine almost imperceptibly as she handed it over. A spark, fleeting but distinct. "Call me," she said, her voice softer now, a promise embedded in the words. As she headed for the door, "Good luck with your interview," I called after her, watching her quick, elegant stride down the sidewalk. I had no way of knowing then that this bizarre encounter, born of a mistaken address and a stranger in my shower, would be the most pivotal moment of my life. The coffee dates, a hesitant step into the unknown, unfolded into dinner. One dinner became a weekly ritual, each evening peeling back another layer of guarded familiarity, revealing a tender intimacy beneath. Eliza, it turned out, had moved to our city for a fresh start, leaving behind a toxic relationship in Chicago. She was brilliant, a landscape architect with a passion for sustainable design, and had indeed secured the dream job she'd interviewed for that morning. Our conversations flowed easily, often stretching into the late hours, punctuated by soft laughter and the comfortable weight of shared silences. Our hands found each other across tabletops, a gentle, unspoken connection that grew stronger with each passing week. There was a quiet electricity between us, a pull that made me keenly aware of her presence. The subtle scent of her skin, the way her gaze held mine just a beat longer. The biggest hurdle, a deeply personal one, was introducing her to Emma. My daughter had carried the scars of my divorce close to her heart, and I was fiercely protective. But 2 months after that bizarre shower incident, when they finally met, something truly magical unfolded. "Do you like Legos?" Emma asked, clutching her favorite set. A tiny, suspicious interrogator. Eliza's face lit up in a genuine, joyful radiance. "Are you kidding? I wanted to be an architect because of Legos." That was all it took. By the end of the afternoon, their heads were bent together in shared concentration, building an elaborate castle with a moat and a working drawbridge. Watching them, feeling the warmth of their connection, I experienced a quiet swell of emotion I hadn't known in years. Hope. Our path, however, wasn't without its shadows. My ex-wife, Vanessa, initially viewed Eliza as a threat to her delicate relationship with Emma. Tense exchanges at drop-offs, passive-aggressive text messages, questioning my judgment, became a familiar dance. "You're letting our daughter spend time with a woman who broke into your house," she demanded during one particularly heated phone call, her voice sharp with accusation. "She didn't break in," I patiently explained, the 100th time I'd recited the story. "It was a misunderstanding. And yes, I trust her with Emma completely." The truth was, Eliza was extraordinary with my daughter. She never tried to replace Vanessa, a quiet respect underpinning her interactions. Instead, she carved out her own unique, treasured relationship with Emma. They planted a vegetable garden in the backyard, their hands covered in earth, nurturing new life together. They developed inside jokes, a secret language that bound them, and most importantly, Emma smiled more when Eliza was around. A deep, quiet joy settled into our home. 6 months into our relationship, I returned home from work to find Eliza on the couch, her shoulders hunched, her expression clouded. The vibrant energy she usually carried seemed muted. "What's wrong?" I asked immediately, my chest tightening with concern. "I got offered a job," she said quietly, her voice barely a whisper. "A dream job, actually, designing the green spaces for a major sustainable development." My heart plummeted. A cold dread seeped into me. Where? Seattle. The word hung in the air, heavy and absolute. A chasm opening between us. Seattle was across the country. Long-distance relationships rarely thrived, and I couldn't leave. Emma's life, her school, her mother, everything was rooted here. That's amazing. I managed, striving for a supportive tone that felt hollow. "When do you start?" "I haven't accepted yet," she said, finally meeting my eyes, her own filled with a hesitant vulnerability. "I wanted to talk to you first. Eliza, you can't turn down your dream job for me." I insisted, the words tasting like ash. "We've only known each other 6 months." She reached for my hand, her fingers intertwining with mine. Her touch was warm, comforting, yet carried the weight of unspoken emotion. Sometimes 6 months is enough to know what matters most. We stayed up all night, talking in hushed tones, exploring every impossible scenario, every distant possibility. The quiet intimacy of the night wrapped around us, amplifying the weight of her hand in mine, the subtle shift of her leg against mine as we sat close on the couch. By morning, we were exhausted, emotionally drained, yet no closer to a solution. Eliza left for work with a lingering kiss and a promise to continue our agonizing conversation later. That evening, Emma found me staring blankly at the wall, lost in the overwhelming currents of my thoughts. "Dad, are you sad because Eliza might move away?" she asked, climbing onto my lap, a comforting weight that was almost too big for her now. I nodded, surprised by her perceptiveness. "A little bit. Yeah, I'd be sad, too," she said solemnly, tracing a pattern on my arm. "But you know what Eliza told me? Sometimes the scariest choices lead to the best adventures." I stared at my daughter, struck by the profound wisdom in her innocent words. When had she gotten so grown up, so perceptive? The next day, driven by Emma's words and the desperate ache in my heart, I called my boss. I tentatively inquired about remote work possibilities. To my surprise, he was receptive. I'd been a valuable employee for years, and much of my architectural engineering work could, indeed, be done from anywhere. Then, I made the most difficult call of all. "I'm thinking of moving to Seattle," I said to Vanessa, bracing for the inevitable storm. "Not immediately, but maybe in 6 months, after the school year ends." The silence on the other end was deafening, stretching taut with unvoiced emotions. "You'd take Emma away from me?" she finally asked, her voice cracking, raw with pain. "No," I quickly assured her. "I'd never do that. I'm talking about a co-parenting arrangement where she splits time between both cities. It would mean changes for all of us. But you love this woman enough to rearrange our daughter's entire life," she finished, the bitterness in her voice palpable. "I'm not making any decisions yet," I reiterated, my voice calm, hoping to soothe her. "I wanted to discuss it with you first, to see if we could find a solution that works for everyone, especially Emma." More silence. Then a long, weary sigh. "I need time to think about this." It was more than I dared to hope for. "Thank you," I said sincerely, relief washing over me. When I recounted these conversations to Eliza, she was stunned, her luminous eyes widening with disbelief. "You'd consider moving to Seattle. What about your job? What about Emma?" "My job is flexible," I explained, reaching for her hand, intertwining our fingers. "And as for Emma, we'd figure it out. Vanessa and I would work together to ensure she has stability. It wouldn't be easy, but families come in all forms these days." Tears welled in Eliza's eyes, shimmering like captured light. "You'd do that for me," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "For us," I corrected her softly, my thumb stroking the back of her hand. "Because what we have is worth fighting for." The profound awe of those words settled between us, a quiet, immovable force. That night, as we lay in bed, the warmth of our bodies, a comforting presence against the cool sheets, discussing the vast landscape of possibilities, Eliza suddenly sat up. The soft glow of the moonlight filtered through the window, illuminating the thoughtful curve of her profile. "Wait," she murmured, her voice laced with a burgeoning idea. "What if I don't take the Seattle job?" "But it's your dream position," I protested gently, not wanting her to make a sacrifice she'd regret. "No," she said slowly, as if realizing the profound truth herself, her eyes meeting mine with a quiet intensity. "My dream is to do meaningful work that makes a difference. And I've been thinking, what if I started my own firm here? There's a growing interest in sustainable landscaping in this region, and with my experience, could you really be happy with that?" I asked, a tremor of hope blossoming in my chest. Her smile was radiant, a deep internal glow that lit up her entire face. "I'd be building something of my own in the city where I found you and Emma. That she whispered, leaning in to kiss me softly. Sounds pretty close to perfect. 2 weeks later, Eliza turned down the Seattle position, choosing instead to lay the groundwork for her own landscape architecture firm. It was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. A brave leap of faith. I supported her however I could, from helping with business plans to simply believing in her vision. When doubts inevitably crept in, and remarkably, Vanessa began to thaw. Perhaps seeing Eliza choose to stay for our family helped her realize this wasn't a fleeting relationship, but something enduring. Gradually, the tension at handoffs eased. Eventually, they could even exchange pleasantries, the air no longer crackling with animosity. 1 year after our wildly unconventional first meeting, I led Eliza back to the bathroom where it all began. I'd filled the space with flickering candles and the intoxicating scent of roses, transforming it from a place of alarm into a sanctuary of memory. As she stood there, a soft, familiar laugh bubbling up from her, a sound that now felt like home. I got down on one knee. Most love stories don't begin with a baseball bat and an accidental break-in, I said, my voice thick with emotion, pulling out the ring I'd been carrying for weeks. But I wouldn't change a single moment of ours. You walked into the wrong house, but into exactly the right life. Mine and Emma's. Will you marry me? Through tears of joy, her luminous eyes reflecting the candlelight, she said yes. The embrace that followed was filled with a profound sense of coming home. The soft press of her body against mine, a quiet affirmation of our shared future. Our wedding was small, intimate, and perfect. Emma, beaming with pride in her special dress, served as both flower girl and ring bearer, her small hand clutching the precious bands, and in a gesture that moved me beyond words. Vanessa helped Emma prepare a speech for the reception. My dad was sad for a long time, Emma told the gathered guests, her voice small but determined. Then Eliza came and made our house happy again. She's not trying to be my mom, because I already have a mom who I love. But she's my Eliza, and that's just as special. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Life isn't perfect. Eliza's business has had its inevitable ups and downs. Co-parenting still has its challenges. We argue sometimes, like any couple finding their rhythm. But every morning, when I wake up beside her, feeling the quiet warmth of her presence, I'm profoundly grateful for that strange day. The day I came home to find a beautiful stranger in my shower, completely, utterly by mistake. Sometimes the most unexpected beginnings lead to the most beautiful journeys. Our story taught me that second chances arrive in the most surprising packages, and that family isn't just about blood. It's about who chooses to stay and build a life with you, even when it's complicated, because sometimes the wrong address leads you exactly where you're meant to be.